What's going on, world? And welcome to Clearing the Wreckage Podcast. It's the voice and your host, Kareem A. Rashid. And once again, I don't know what you got going on. You could be getting on the toilet, or you could be getting off the toilet. Hell, for all I know, you could be wiping your tushy. But I know that I'm ready, and so I hope that you're ready to clear the wreckage. Yes, indeed. What's going on with you today, my friends? What's going on with you today, my peeps, my fellow Wreckage Clearers? I have had an amazing morning so far. As you know, there are certain rituals that I have to complete before coming to meet with you. So this morning, I woke up, I prayed, I meditated, and I went to the gym. And I went to the coffee shop. And I kind of sat there and thought a little bit about what I was going to say to you today. And then I met you at our imaginary coffee shop. And we are going to talk today about loving yourself. And there was something that was said to me over and over again that I didn't quite really understand, or I was able to put my finger on it. But someone once told me, I'll love you till you love yourself. And I was kind of like, what in the heck does that mean? So I remember, and you guys know this already, I'm just going to reiterate it and share it with you again. I remember when I used to walk into some of those recovery rooms, some of those support groups that I used to walk into, I used to go in there and fess up and pick up a surrender medallion, a tag or a chip after the meeting, and this symbolizes a starting over period, a fresh start. The white chip or the white tag or medallion represents a clean slate. Hey, I surrender. I'm starting over. It also represents acknowledgement. Acknowledgement in a way of showing to the group and yourself that, man, I messed up. So now I fess up and I give the rest up. Hell, I just made that up. That rhymes. Man, I'm such a poet, and I ain't know it. Anyway, during that time, as you know, I've shared with you in previous episodes, I was having setbacks. I was relapsing. I could not stop. But what I want to emphasize with you is that my fellows in those support groups in that room would say to me, they'll say two things. They'll say, keep coming back. And then right after that, they'll be like, we will love you until you love yourself. And at first I was like, what in the world? What? You got some audacity to be like telling me that you will love me until I love myself? I do love myself. That's why. So at first I thought they were crazy because I was like, what? I love myself. Who are you to tell me that I don't? However, the fact still remained, folks, whether I liked it or not, I did not love myself. So the first question I ask you is, do you love yourself? And naturally, your natural response would be, yeah, Kareem, of course I love myself. But let me just tell you this from my experience, and I only share with you my experience and my journey. If I had loved myself, why did I continue to harm myself in the way that I was with alcohol and drugs? Why did I continue to stay in self-pity or depression or victimize myself? Why would I want to leave this earth? Why would I want to not be here? Why would I have suicidal ideations? Why would I think of myself as a piece of crap, as a failure, as someone unworthy, someone who will always be this way? Why will I think of myself as someone who screws up everything? Why would I think of myself as someone who is bound to this addiction? Why? So let me just say this to you. It may take your whole life to fall in love with yourself. It took me, it still is difficult At times I have setbacks, and you will see throughout this journey of clearing the wreckage, and I'm so thankful that you're on the journey with me that I'm just going to keep it real with you. I'm going to be authentic with you. I'm going to keep it 100, and you will know, dang, man, Kareem's struggling today, because I will tell you. Or you'll be like, dang, on that part of his journey, man, he was really going through it. Yeah, because you need to know that I am human just like you, that I am walking alongside of you, and we are in oneness. We are in one in spirit, and we are together on this journey. Yes. But let me emphasize that to you. It may take your whole life to fall in love with yourself. And you may say, well, dang, Kareem, aren't you supposed to be giving us some type of hope? What's up with that? What's up with all the despair and the doom? And why are you telling me that it'll take my whole life? Well, my answer to you is, you know what? I don't know for sure. I do not have all the answers, but I do know that it is a process. I do know that for sure. I do know that you cannot think yourself into something that takes action. Love is a verb. Love is an action, from my experience at least. And yes, love is also a noun. Yes, love is also that gooey, good, gushy feeling. Oh, I love you. Love is also that tingling sensation that you get filling up your body, down your spine. That may be love too. Love is all of those things, right? However, I do know from my experience, it took me choosing certain actions to begin to love myself, right? So let's get into those actions. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's not, have a conversation of me just joking around all day with you, which I love doing. But let's just get right into those actions, shall we? And the actions that I had to take, I'm going to share them with you. But the actions, I will say this first. The actions that I was choosing in the past was not love. It was based off of fear. And we all know, right? We all know this, that perfect love drives out fear. And I'm not religious at all. This is just common sense. Fear and love are the main two emotions. And you really can't love in the face of fear. I don't know if that makes sense, but you really can't have love and fear. They can't really coincide with one another. So loving yourself is a daily conscious choice to nurture your own well-being, your own growth, your happiness. And it requires patience and self-compassion to be able to shift, right? To shift from that pattern of self-criticism to one of self-acceptance. All I did was criticize myself. I will always be like this. I will always fail. I will never amount to nothing. I am nothing. I am full of crap. I am a piece of crap. That is how I thought of myself. And I also was definitely looking for love in all the wrong places. Alcohol, sex, drugs, relationships. And wait, let me say that just a little bit differently, because I don't want to be misheard or mistaken, because you're probably like, wait, you can find love in relationships. Of course, you can find love in relationships. What I meant was the love for yourself. Cannot find that externally is what I mean. Externally, it will always be fading. It will always be just a glimpse of happiness. It will always be something that is temporary. Yes, because that love for yourself will have to come from deep within. And if you're like me, the only love I knew was the love that I was looking for. And that is us as humans, right? So the only love that we know, what we think is love, our perception of love, so to speak, is what we look for. And so with that, I had to unlearn things and or, as I would say, clear the wreckage. But first, and most importantly, as you know, I have to look inside first. So I want you to ask, So I want you to ask yourself this question now. Do I love myself? I mean, I had to get real with myself. Remember when I told you how I shared some things with my mentor, and then his response to me, he said, well, Kareem, it seems to me that the person you resent the most is yourself. And folks, that was facts. I mean, that was facts. It was something I did not want to hear, but that was facts. I mean, he told me straight up. I hear all of this, but it just sounds to me that the main person that you hate is yourself. And that was so true. The main person I hated and I was disgusted with was me, myself, and I. Man. And so this process of loving myself or loving ourselves, because we are one in this, means we must unlearn the habit of being our own worst critic. And we must dismantle those deeply ingrained negative self-belief. The work involves identifying the inner critic screaming at you and consciously replacing it with the compassionate voice. Now, here's the deal. Some of us have just this voice in our head that just condemns us all day. And that is the voice that I had in my head. Oh, you'll never get it right. You're Mr. Can't Get Right. You'll never be able to get this right. You'll always keep doing the same thing over and over. All you do is make mistakes. Boy, you suck. These are the voices I used to hear. And some of y'all are probably like, oh my God, you're crazy. You hear voices? No, you have voices in your head too, telling you probably the same crap that I just shared with you. The only difference between you and I is that I'm just authentic. I'm just going to share it with you. Because I don't care what you think about me. Why? Because I love myself. And I accept myself. And I'm also doing this so you can know that I'm just like you. Right? That I've been there. So a vital part of this journey is moving away from the belief, right? From the belief that I must be perfect to be worthy of love. We shared that before in this journey. That was my makeup. Perfection. I have to be perfect. So how many of us, right, grew up in a household where you felt like you had to be perfect? I'm raising my hand if you can see me on YouTube. When you make a mistake, you were punished or chastised. Did you live in that type of household? See, I had to learn to accept myself also unconditionally in the present moment, including my flaws, my mistakes, and vulnerabilities. That, my friends, is true self-love. That is what self-love involves. When I make a mistake, I am to not condemn myself. Oh, man, there you go again. Doing the same thing. Oh, I dropped something. Oh, you're so clumsy. No, it's okay. You dropped it. Just pick it up. Put it back where it belongs. All good. Move on. You're allowed to make mistakes, Kareem. You are human. That's compassion toward yourself. So why don't you right now, I want you to tell yourself, hey, I am allowed to make a mistake because I am human. I am allowed to make a mistake because I am human. Tell yourself that right now while you're listening to this episode, while we're having this conversation. And so the work involved me recognizing my worth. You have to recognize your worth as a birthright. That's what the work involved for me, recognizing my worth as a birthright, something that can never be extinguished. It can never go away. It can't be added to or subtracted to based on performance. I am here not to perform. I am not part of the circus show. Seriously. Like, I am not getting on the trapeze. I am not trying to fly from trapeze to trapeze. I'm not that person. I am not here to perform. I am here to be. And when I started realizing that, that is the work that involves that, man, I'm here to be, and I'm here to be myself. And me being me is enough. Me being me is enough. Matter of fact, I am priceless. There is no price you can put on me. There is nothing you can say to me that will change my worth. There's nothing you can do to me that will take away my worth, because since the day I was put here on this earth, I was worthy and am worthy of love, because the person or the creator or that being, the source of life that put me here and gave me life, already deemed me worthy. Woo! Boy, don't let me start preaching up in here to y'all. So self-love is going to be a continual process of growth. Remember, hey, it may take you all your life to fall in love with yourself. Self-love is a continual process of growth and discovery. It's not a passive feeling, right, that suddenly arrives. Oh, all of a sudden I love myself. No. It's not an overnight thing. But it also is a set of actions that we must take consistently. Self-love looks like maybe setting some boundaries, maybe prioritizing your physical and mental health, taking care of your needs even when it feels uncomfortable. That is what self-love looked like for me. Let me go to therapy. Let me get some counseling. Let me talk to my counselor. Let me get the help that is so present for me. The resources, utilize them. Let me take my medication that was prescribed to me by my psychiatrist to help me think straight, for all my chemicals to flow right in my brain. That is self-love. Now, because it is a process, loving yourself, you will have ups and downs. There will be days where you may feel confident, and there may be days where that doubt resurfaces, or that fear resurfaces, that shame, that guilt, all those things that I have dealt with all my life will come back up. But a key part of this process for me, well, and for you, because we're doing this together, right? But for me, it was not allowing myself to fall into the self-pity or to wallow in a big puddle of shame, right? When I made a mistake, instead, I had to use that self-compassion. Hey, Kareem, it's just a mistake. It's just no big deal. I had to treat myself with some kindness. The same kindness that I will offer a friend. And that's the same kindness that I will offer a friend. If a friend makes a mistake, I'll be like, it's all good. That's what I might say. It's all good. Don't worry about it. So why would I tell myself, oh, man, you're such an idiot. You're so stupid. Oh, you're so clumsy. Would I say that to a friend? Would I tell that person, oh, man, yeah, you just keep doing the same thing over and over. You're such an idiot. Would I actually say that to them? Probably not. So therefore, self-love is about being self-compassionate to yourself, showing the same kindness that you would show your friend. And it's crazy how we will quickly speak kindly to a friend, but speak harshly to ourselves. That was me, folks. So loving yourself is simply the process of self-discovery. Because you cannot love yourself if you do not know yourself. And that is one of the things that I begin to realize, that, man, they are right. I don't love myself because I don't know who I am. I got to learn who I am By coming into these rooms, coming into those support groups, I will learn more about who I am. By going to therapy, I will learn more about who I am. By doing these things to help myself, benefit myself, I'll learn more about who I am. And then I will begin to grow in love with myself. Loving yourself involves uncovering your own passions, your own needs, your own values. So let me ask you, what are your passions? What are your needs? What are your values? Do you even know? What are yours? Not your parents' values, not society's values, not your parents' needs, not your boyfriend needs, not your girlfriend's needs, not your husband's needs, not your wife's needs, not your partner's needs. What are your needs? What are your passions? This is where I had to dig deep. And I discovered a passion. I discovered that writing was my passion. I discovered also it's not just a passion. Oh my gosh, this is a gift. Wow. This is such a gift that was given to me to be utilized to not only help myself, but help other people. When I write, it is a form of therapy for me. When I'm writing, I'm actually literally writing down the things that I need to tell myself so that I can change and walk away and be different and be transformed. That is a gift. And I finally came to that realization. So during this time of my journey, as I told you, I was writing a book. And the cool thing about it is that wasn't even going to turn into a book. I'm just going to tell you the story real quick. My first book was never going to turn into a book. But because I was learning about myself, I was discovering myself, I was discovering that, wait, this is a passion, this is a gift, I turned it into a book. I was just writing down my thoughts and my feelings and how I felt about my experiences. And a friend of mine was like, hey, have you thought about turning this into a book? And I was like, nah, I'm just writing. I'm just writing how I feel. And she told me to think about it. She told me to actually pray about it. And I did. And that's when I received the confirmation that this is a gift. This is a passion of mine. And now I'm writing my fourth book. By the way, I'm going to plug that real quick. Broken Just Like Twigs is the first book that I ever wrote. You can get it on audiobook. You can get it on Amazon, anywhere that you get books. Besides, it's online, online. It is not in the stores. But you can definitely get it online anywhere where you do your online shopping and on audiobook, on Audible. Yes. And I got that book published. I followed my passion. I followed my dream. I followed something that I always wanted to do. I discovered that about myself by spending time with myself. So loving yourself involves spending time alone. This self-discovery process, spending time alone, reflecting on what fills your cup, what makes it fill up and overflow. Learning what makes you you. So who are you? Do you know? That's the question I want to resonate with you, that I want you to meditate on, contemplate on during this conversation and after this conversation. Who are you? Do you know? And of course, folks, this process is not linear, just as most things in life. It's not a straight line to some destination, but just know that as we have talked about many things so far leading up to this, and you can see from my journey, my experience, that it was not a linear process. However, you have been with me, so you do know the process so far of clearing the wreckage, how I had to become aware. In order to love yourself, you must recognize that inner critic. You must recognize that inner critic and the way that you neglect yourself with different habits, patterns, destruction, or wreckage. I became aware that mine was my addiction. My addiction to sex, my addiction to drugs, my addiction to alcohol. These are the disruptive behaviors and patterns that just keep me from loving myself. I had to begin to appreciate my inherent value, seeing myself with the right eyes, as I would like to say it. You've heard me say that before. Seeing myself with the right eyes. Man, I am inherently good. See, some of us see ourselves as inherently bad. That's how I used to see myself. Inherently bad. I am a bad seed. I am cursed. Why in the hell am I here on this earth to just continue to fail? I am a bad person. To continue to commit evil, I am evil. I saw myself in that way. Nobody, you're not that way. You are inherently good. Do you see yourself as inherently good? Do you see yourself as worthy of love? So I had to accept myself, folks. I had to accept my flaws, my setbacks, and my imperfections, and I had to actively protect my energy. Actively honor my needs. That meant for me, people, places, and things that sent me on a destructive frequency, that sent me wrecking things up, that kept me in my wreckage, had to be removed. I had to go inside, take some time to look and remove and clear the wreckage. People, places, and things were part of my wreckage. Alcohol, sex, drugs, relationships, part of my wreckage. The toxicity of those things, I should say. The habitual act of those things. The addiction of those things. Because people, places, and things in and of itself are not destructive. You catch my drift? So, folks, in this process, it was about clicking my heels 3 times and returning home. Like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. This is what this process is about, self-love. Clicking your heels 3 times and returning home, just like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. And if you haven't seen that movie, I suggest that you go watch it, because Dorothy was searching. Truly, she was searching for herself, and that movie is filled with subliminal messages and lessons, if you are wise enough to catch the lessons and the messages. But I'm emphasizing this message to you. This was a message that was clearly in there. Dorothy went on a journey. She left home. The wreckage had to come. And if you've been listening to me and going through my story with me, you see that me and Dorothy, we shared the same experiences. Her wreckage was in the form of a tornado coming and destroying the house and lifting her up and taking her on a journey. A journey that she was unfamiliar with. This land of Oz where she continued to wander. And she was searching for herself. She found a couple of friends that didn't know themselves either. They did not love themselves. There was a void. There was a whole void. There was this hole in their heart they were all looking for. And, the good witch told Dorothy long time ago, when you want to return back home, just click your heels 3 times. But in her journey, in her wandering, in her searching, she forgot all of that. Because she was searching for something to fulfill her outside of herself that she could not receive. Ooh, boy, I'm about to start preaching up in here. And she was led by so many different destructive things, so many people. She was seeking that validation from all of these things outside of herself. See, Dorothy was searching, but she was searching for herself. She was searching truly for her own worth, her own value. She was on a journey of self-love, self-discovery. But when she finally discovered that and she became aware of it all, she remembered and clicked her heels 3 times and returned home. I'm not going to get too deep with you about the word remember, but you just saw and heard how I broke that down. I want you to just think about that for yourself. And one of these days, on one of our conversations, I will break that word down for you completely. But she remembered. She remembered that the good witch said, hey, just click your heels 3 times and you can return home. And so she did that, and she returned home, and home was herself. Home was her loving herself. Home is where we are returning to, my friends. Don't let me get too deep with you. See, they have taught you that you are returning home. You got to do this. You got to perform this. You got to be perfect. You got to do this. Make sure you're not doing that, or else you will not be able to return home. You can return home. Just click your heels 3 times and you're home, doggone it. You're going to have to unlearn those conditioning, limited beliefs that were put upon you by this society. You're going to have to unlearn those things that were put upon you by religion. You have to unlearn that. Because truthfully, home is loving yourself. And loving yourself is kind of like a rebuilding project. Returning home to yourself. Going away and returning home to yourself. And recognizing that you are enough as you are right now. And folks, that is what I'm going to leave you with today. You are enough as you are right now. Love yourself enough to take the time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. And that is how I always leave you. Take the time to look inside as the wreckage will clear once you do that. The wreckage will begin to clear. You'll begin to discover yourself. You'll begin to peel back these layers. You'll begin to know your passions. You'll begin to know your values. You may need to even create some. You may lost your values in a relationship. You may need to go back and recreate some. You may need to click your heels 3 times, however many times you have to in life to return home. I love you guys so much. And I want to leave you with this, as I always do. Take some time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. Peace.